Okay, for number 19, they want you to solve this equation and they want you to express your answer a couple different ways. They want interval notation and they also want a number line graph on that. So let's go ahead and first solve this equation. Now when you're solving these with inequalities, you're just going to pretend that the inequality symbol is an equals, so everything that you can do with a normal equals equation you can do on here. So as far as solving techniques, we're going to do exactly the same techniques. The first one, we're going to multiply, distribute the 2 to get rid of the parentheses, and I'll also multiply the 4 over here as well. So let's go ahead and do that first. When I multiply this, I get 2x minus 10. I get for that each one multiplying it out. I have plus 3x and then greater than. And then I'll do this one. I'll multiply the 4 times the x and the 4 times the negative 6. So I'm going to get 4x minus 24 and I have plus 11. Okay, so now that I have that complete, I'm going to simplify, add the like terms together. I get 5x minus 10 on that side. I'm going to keep bringing down the inequality symbol. I have these two like terms on that side, so 4x, there's nothing else to go with it. Now these two I'm going to do 24 minus 11, take the sign of the larger number, so the answer is going to have to be negative there. So if I subtract that, I'm going to get 13. So I'll get negative 13 as a result. Next, I want to get all the x's on one side of the equation. Now when you're doing inequalities, it's actually going to be better for you to always put the x on the left-hand side. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes if the x is on the other side over there, a lot of times I see students writing the wrong answer because of the way the inequality symbol is, they write it the wrong way. So I encourage you again to get the x's always on the left-hand side. That way you'll be correct when you set up your interval notation. So knowing that, I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides because I want to get all the x's on the left-hand side. I want to get rid of it from there. So I do opposite operation. This was originally positive, so I'm subtracting here. I get x minus 10 greater than negative 13. Okay, so now one more step. I'll have to solve for x. I'm just going to add 10 to both sides. I want that 10 to go away there, so I'm going to do the opposite operation. And then I get x is greater than, okay, negative 13 plus 10, I get negative 3. Okay, now this is the answer, but I need to express my answer two ways. I need to do number line graph first, and then I'm going to do interval notation. I think it's easier to work with interval notation once you have the graph. So I'm going to first draw the number line graph. Now, depending on where you've taken algebra 4 in high school, there's actually two different ways you can use notation on it. You'll see one, I use some notation by using parentheses and brackets, but if you do online homework, that's going to show you working with closed circles or open circles. It doesn't really matter what notation that you use, I'll take both of those. So since I did the parenthesis notation, so if I have this symbol here, the way it works is if I have these two symbols, I'm using parentheses. If I have these right here, then I'm using brackets. Or if you're using the notation that the online homework uses, they use open and closed circles. So if you have these symbols here, you're going to use parentheses or open circle. If you have the equal sign underneath, you're going to use brackets or closed circles. So let's go ahead and use the circle notation. I'm first going to put negative 3 on the number line, and I'm going to put that with an open circle. Now, since it says greater than, that means it's going to go this way to the right. So I have, my line goes that way. And so what my answer is going to be for this is my number line that I'm going to put, but I also need to write my interval notation. Now interval notation, open circle means that we use a parenthesis. So I start with the parenthesis here. You always put the smaller number first when you do interval notation. That's important. If you put the larger number first, it's going to be incorrect. You got to put the smaller number first. So I have negative 3. It's going to the right forever. That's going to go to positive infinity. In infinity and negative infinity, you always have a parenthesis on that. So this will be your answer for interval notation, negative 3 to infinity, and there's parentheses around both of those.